Have you ever had an idea that was so clear it was like a 3D movie? Have you ever told a friend about the idea and they told you, wow, if you could only make that into a business, you would be rich? Sound familiar? Welcome to Knowledge to Currency. I'm your host, Senator Porter, with my co-host, Roosevelt Williams III, and we're here to help you take action. This is free information. We only ask one thing: build a strong foundation and mindset. We have insight to help you get started. Most of us just need a push.
Hey, it's Grant from Petco Park.
And this is Cheyenne, and we're a shout out to YB and Impy for partnering with us today for our theme game.
Have a good day.
Welcome to the show. This is Senator Porter, and I have my co-host,
Roosevelt Williams III.
And then we have a special guest today, Conor Murnane. Correct?
Yep, nailed it. Thank you. Glad to be here, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on the show. We want to talk about your business. We want to talk about all the different things that you have going on. First off, you're a growth advisor, correct?
Correct. Over at Zillow Group, which has been kind of a long journey, but over a decade there in that space.
Okay. Tell us about what does a growth advisor do?
For sure. So, rewinding back to 2009, I was an early employee at a company called Trulia. So I was fortunate to be there before going public and getting acquired by Zillow Group. And the theme for the last 10 years for me has always been, working with and learning from some of the biggest and best in real estate. So teams and agents that are selling 1,000 homes a year or over $1 billion in production a year. And I've always just been kind of obsessed with being a student and learning everything from, their business to their growth tactics to everything they do, for marketing and sales. And that's led to a lot of, projects and ventures and relationships, today.
Speaking about other ventures, what's something else you do? Because in California, it's so expensive to live here. So you have a W-2 job on one hand, but then you also have something else.
Yeah, I'm also I'm the type that likes to have my hands in a number of different pots. So, on one hand, I'm helping Zillow premier agents scale their business and grow and sell more homes through that ecosystem and that platform. I'm on the board of advisors for a company called Celebrity Agent. They do marketing for real estate pros. And then I also work with a lot of different personal clients in the world of video. So helping them create content, scale their personal brands, and grow their businesses.
So you got a lot of hats going on, right?
Yeah. And on top of that, I got 4 young, crazy kids at home. Beautiful, helpful wife. And that's really the head of operations of everything that I'm doing. But yeah, I got a lot going on for sure.
Oh yeah, 4 kids in California, got a lot going on, sir.
Yeah.
A lot going on, sir.
Yeah.
So tell us about your I guess it would be your personal business with the video.
Yeah. So the story for me for video and how that kind of came up was really like starting with me taking my own action in my own kind of circumstances, right? So like, I was having all these conversations and relationships from all these badasses in real estate, but like we were kind of joking about this. I never even had like a photo to show from, these conversations.
Sure.
And so I knew, I'd always listen to like the Gary V's and the guys talking about, documenting these journeys and kind of, sharing and showing people. So I just started clicking record on some of these conversations, like real casual on like Zoom or, on an Instagram live kind of FaceTime style. But I knew it could lead to some unknown opportunities, and I'll kind of maybe get into what some of those have been as examples. But, really video for me started to turn into almost like a networking at scale. And so meeting, like-minded friends or collaborations or, clients and opportunities just started popping up. So I started leaning more and more and more into it to the point now where it's almost like the deeper I go, the more obsessed I get. I start to see, either other results or just kind of, fun stories that happen for people, and it becomes more and more inspiring. So videos and, putting ourselves on the line has become something I'm really, really into.
Yeah, if you look at posts, like some of my friends, I'm obviously in real estate as well as you, from mortgage lending, finance, and regular real estate. But I have a friend post something and it's powerful what they're saying, but they do it in a text. and it's a big paragraph. So you go through and you read the whole paragraph. But most people don't do that. I do it just because I'm interested in what this person has to say. And first thing I always think, or what I'll comment, put that in the video. Yeah. And they never do. But one of my friends has started to do it. And he's like, man, I'm getting referrals. People are calling me. They're like engaging with me. And I was like, yeah, every day, or at least when you go get coffee or whatever, make a video. Just talking about what's on your mind. Doesn't have to be even something too crazy. Just whatever industry you're in, just do a video about it. What are your thoughts?
I totally agree. I mean, to be empathetic here, I'll be one of the first ones to say, like, it's easier said than done to, like, put yourself on video, put yourself out there. Like, it's different than writing a little paragraph. I mean, it was kind of an evolution for me in getting comfortable. So, like, some of the first posts I did were just written articles on LinkedIn. Okay. So that was just getting comfortable with, having a voice, having thoughts and opinions to share. But I think what you started hitting on is, like, when it comes to communication, humans are going to prefer the fastest form of communication. And when you watch a 10-second video, you can get a feel for your vibe. You can get a sense for their tone, and you can hear their message really fast, right? And so video to me has been one of those forms of communication that's just, so impactful for, really creating meaningful outcomes, right? A lot of these people at the end of the day would have a business, trying to get customers, trying to actually, make something happen. And so videos to me are one of, the most effective ways, to do that in 2022.
So that being said, if somebody were new to video, don't know what they're doing, scared to hold the phone up and make that video, where do you come in?
Okay, really good question. I'm going to remove where I come in for a second. I'm just going to give anyone getting into video, here's a few things that, and because we've talked about this, there's endless resources from editing and styles and different things. So I'll kind of give a few general topics and ideas, and then you can tell me where you maybe want me to go further on. But I think the first thing is almost like brushing your teeth or going to the gym. You're talking about working out. You almost have to commit to a minimum frequency or a cadence before you even get into the quality or, well, what am I going to talk about? Or was it this and that? And all that stuff's important. But I think committing to an actual start and an ongoing commitment, it matters. So okay, I'm going to first video is going to be this Monday, and I'm going to post a video once a week or once every other day. And so just getting into that commitment and that rhythm, I think, is actually way more important than anything, because a lot of people will spend months. I did this. I spent months, thousands of dollars coming up with the perfect first video to post. And you get X amount of views, and then it's dead. And then, you got to move on to the next thing. And so I like the analogies of brushing your teeth and working out. I think you have to find a commitment that you can stick to, imperfectly so, and then build on it from there. So that's step one. You get a commitment and a cadence or frequency. But I think then step two is a little bit more about, how do I want to be remembered? How do I want to position myself? Who am I actually trying to connect with? And that can mean a range of different things, for a real estate pro to a local restaurant to whatever it is you're trying to achieve. I think having clarity in that sort of shapes, the message and the map to get there. So, I being surrounded by real estate pros and tech and just kind of the cross of those worlds forever, I regularly talk about, real estate tech companies, investments that I'm into, marketing strategies around it. And so I think if I'm trying to speak to real estate professionals, I got to kind of know what is happening in their world and what's, most applicable. So I think once you craft a message or you craft kind of a plan, then I think you find what I call sort of a pillar of content. So this podcast, this series, Knowledge to Currency, is a great pillar, because you could do 100 interviews. You could interview 100 different people, and you still just be scratching the surface. You could interview 1,000, infinite amounts of people after that. And so a pillar to me is something that you can endlessly and regularly come back to and pull from or create content from. And we kind of nerded out a little bit about taking the small clips from this and then sharing that on different platforms. Those are videos in and of itself. So there's kind of endless ways to go with that. But once you have a commitment and a cadence, and once you have clarity on who it is you're trying to, position for and be, then you just get get a lane in the freeway to run, and then you're off to the races.
That's awesome. You got a question?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely like that because that's doing it by design, not just doing things frivolous. So, I mean, as you design the strategy, like we were saying, we were nerding out earlier, what is the 10-year plan, that you have, especially when you're cultivating entrepreneurs?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I want to, really high level, I want to be completely independent, free in every way you can define that, right? Like financially, got a lot of ambition. I want to do what I want, when I want, with who I want on different projects and different ventures of work. But I know that has to start with actually helping people. It has to start with helping. We talked about your community. We talked about different, whether it is just cliques of customers or people that you're actually trying to work with, helping them. So I'm helping real estate pros, and 10 years from now, maybe that's helping hundreds or 1,000 of them, or maybe it's working in a slightly different way. But for me, it's I want freedom, and I want to be doing the type of work that is exciting and energizing, but with the types of people that love doing it.
Yeah, absolutely, because we like to think with the end in mind. So that's what I like to share with a lot of individuals, to be able to, see it and then work backwards, just like a Steve Jobs or, like a Titanic thinker, be able to see the vision and then work to that goal. Yeah. Because it's amazing how, it's like the iMac started off so massive, but now we actually have them in our pocket. But he saw that in Microsoft, put microchips in software. And then now look at us, we all have it in our pocket. So I definitely like the vision, and I definitely like how you're able to multitask. And I see that you do it by design. And I say, by doing life by design is like learning, implementing, focusing, and evaluating. So any tips on how you keep your system running as a family man, serial entrepreneur,
good calendar,
visionary?
I mean, I think it's really stepping back and taking the pressure off of ourselves with having some sort of perfect version of this. Any day of the week that I'm saying yes to something, I'm saying no to all these other things. Being here is saying no to being somewhere with my kids right now. So I think there's never, you get some level of success maybe financially, and then you all of a sudden you want that next level. So I think it's if I had to really maybe sum it up to answer what you're saying, enjoying the process versus the prize at the end here. So I'm really trying to day by day, like you talked about life by design, being intentional, trying to think about not just I used to have the mindset of well, it'll be a shit show up until I get to this certain level, and then things will iron out, things will be good and clear. But I think I've gotten into a much better rhythm over these last few years around enjoying that process, because I'm kind of recognizing it's always going to be the process, it's always going to be the game. And I brought up earlier the infinite game, that's kind of my mindset take around that. I did want to real quickly actually go back, because you brought up vision, and the way that you talked about Steve Jobs and the phone made me think about, I have this prediction that in the future, just about everybody is going to have some degree of video content of themselves out there. I mean, it's some of the statistics are insane with how much is actually being, recorded on a daily basis or every moment. But this shift from, we're all living in the real world, which I think will always be there. But we also, this is a whole different world right here. Right. And so I hate to say it sometimes that's bluntly, but most people either exist or they don't exist in this world. Right. And so I think over time, though, more and more people will get more comfortable. It'll become more normal. They start sharing Instagram stories, it becomes casual for people to start posting and documenting their own sort of personal journeys. So I really think we're going to see, people sharing videos of themselves more and more and more. And so tying that back to one of your first questions there, that's what I get really passionate about helping people do, because me going from what I would consider just now from non-existing to even trying to exist has opened up so many cool doors, so many good opportunities that I just know everyone could have that chance if they really step through that door.
Yeah, and one thing that, when we talked about the reels and things of that nature, some of the research that I know that you have TikTok, Instagram, Facebook are competing against one another. So if you do a reel, it's basically going to push that algorithm so that information is sawn out. And personally, I've had that happen because I started with the podcast, started doing reels, started putting stuff out there. And now, like, people are starting to see it to the point where my friends are like, man, your reels are coming up all the time. And all I did was one time. I didn't have to do it compared to if I was selling a product to person, I have to do that same presentation over and over and over.
Yeah.
Once you get that presentation dialed in, you put it up there and it runs on its own.
Yeah.
And it's free.
Yeah. It's like legitimately scaling yourself through media. There's this top agent, actually he's like the number one team in San Diego, but he described it as like videos are like your employees. I mean, that one view is technically one conversation that you're having with a potential prospect or investor or, someone that could be a meaningful relationship for you. So it's a great way to scale ourselves really, really efficiently and reach more relationships.
And if you do it right, in my experience, like people that I've made friends with online, I've never met them, but I've followed their content, and then you finally meet in person, and you're like, oh man, you're really like the person I met. Sometimes not, but
sometimes
if they do it right, that is that person. So it's kind of an extension of you, where you're kind of growing or building a trust in a community of people without just doing nothing that you wouldn't do normally, just being yourself.
I think everyone, even before videos, we all had this, what I've sort of called like relationship equity, like the amount of people that we know times the depth of those relationships sort of equated to this like, equity. Maybe that meant introductions or hookups at, a restaurant or whatever it is, but like it had real value. And videos is just a way to keep scaling that relationship equity. I mean, some of these people like you just brought up as examples, like I can think of who I've known for years, just like literally never even shook their hand before, which is kind of crazy sometimes, but I mean, this is the opportunity that it is.
Yeah, like you're friends online. You're not friends, but you are friends in a way. Yeah. And then what I've done is I've actually like had lunch with those people. One guy in particular, his name is Mortgage Mike. He was a lender. You know Mike? Yeah. So me and Mike, we had been friends for years, and one day I was like, bro, let's go have lunch. And we had lunch, and he's like, man, I feel like I know you. And I was like, I was saying the same thing, because we post what's going on in our lives. We post just stuff that we're doing, and you do end up having kind of a friendship. And then when you actually connect, if it's done right, that person is really who they are. Because, it got the other side of people that make a whole
that's
fantasy.
A whole example. Photo unrecognizable.
Exactly.
Have you guys heard of parasocial relationships? So this one was pretty new to me, but it's just like when, like, if you think of a celebrity that maybe you grew up watching on TV. So like for me, like Kobe Bryant, great example, like fell in love with the dude for all the reasons. And when he passed, it actually felt like a family member or a friend that I knew, like had some of those real feelings. And like he has no clue who Conor was or is. Like we never even had a real relationship, but because of the cumulative hours and moments that I connected and consumed, what he was about, then I created this parasocial relationship. It was a one-way relationship where it felt like we were homies, but he doesn't even know I exist. And that weirdly is happening, with social media and videos. Like you might get 1,000 views and maybe only 2 people like it, but that's 1,000 people who, had a moment of connecting with you. And I've seen the examples where 6-12 months later, then they reach out to you and are like, hey, I've been watching your stuff for the last year, like thinking maybe we can work with each other in this way or that way, and you didn't even know that person was connecting with you. So parasocial relationships, I think, are happening for everybody now on social.
Put me on this. I didn't know what it was called, but now I know.
Yeah,
absolutely. I believe like in the 21st century, and share your thoughts that documentation is better than conversation. As we document our life, we're setting the tone, we're setting the tempo. I was also a late bloomer and didn't get on social media till approximately 2017, 16 or so, because, knowing myself, I was looking before I leaped, so I could be able to, shape the market, and a lot of individuals or, some folks, the market can get real saturated and convoluted. So, starting a business or starting a brand, I just, recommend individuals, be patient, look up the word autocratic leader, an individual I can sit back and be observant to know how to take action when they do jump into that the pool of social media. Because you can become consumed, or you can start shaping it.
Yeah.
You can shape it. So I would just, take note, reach out to individuals, influencers like yourself to, actually, get that guidance, get that blueprint. Because I was encouraged to jump out in the social media because I stopped having something to say and started saying something. A lot of individuals on social media, they just have something to say.
Yeah.
Right now they sharing the new McDonald's meme.
Yeah.
Or just sharing, and they're consumed by social media. And when an individual actually has a plan, a purpose, has a mentor like yourself, they're able to shape it and guide it and, be that influencer.
Yeah. I really believe everyone has their own sort of, zone of genius or their own experience and their own story that, really, even if it can just help one person from across the world, like it's arguably worth it. And
Absolutely.
But it is tough for people to kind of cross that bridge of like going from just, casually being sort of used by social versus, intentionally using social media for their own message.
Doing it by design.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So no, that resonated. I can relate to that.
Nice.
That's another thing I wanted to touch too. How if you are a business owner, some people like to try to separate their personal from their business, and you can respect it if they're scared of like stalkers or whatever. But to me, I never saw a difference. Like, I figure if you do business with me, you like me, you trust me. So I don't want to be a secret agent. I don't want to be, oh, this is Senator Porter, and then all of a sudden I'm the loan guy or the real estate guy or whatever. It's one and the same. So I feel like by posting these videos and documenting the process, and that's showing that you're doing the work, and you actually can say, meaningful content that people could actually use, and that only builds your business up, builds you up.
Yeah, for sure.
In my opinion.
And I recently posted about this. In real estate, we're a face-facing business, and like you just said, people want to get to know you, the human. And then that really attracts them and brings them in. But like this idea of like you separating, business versus who you are as a person, like it's gotten, I think, for better, combined.
Yeah, because you want to support people. Like for me, I'm real. I bought a book from a friend. He just wrote a book. And I know the guy, so why wouldn't I buy his book?
Yeah.
Regardless of what it's about, just to support his movement.
Yeah.
And I always try to like reach out to people that I know if they're doing something, that they have some. If I need the service anyway, why wouldn't I get it from someone I know? Mm-hmm. So I think to me, separating the two, that's not the wave. Like that's terrible idea. Like you should combine the two together, and then that way, if I am supporting someone, I know the type of person I'm supporting. I don't find out there this different person that I didn't know. Yeah. Like Jekyll and Hyde type of thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I would say it goes back to the word we used earlier, authenticity. Mm-hmm. And one thing on social media, when I crucify myself, when I share my faults and my fears, I see that I go farther. Mm-hmm. I see that I gain more followers because I'm sharing my testimony and others can relate to that. Mm-hmm. So they know where to go to get that. So, that's a good tip I would share anybody that's, just be authentic. So for example, even on my business page, sometimes I might even share my family playing in the sand. Mm-hmm. Sure, I'm a father, vote for me, or you know what I mean? Or this is what I'm doing today to show that I'm a real human person. They might just not always see me in character or, or with relatable. A costume on. Relatable.
It's relatable. I mean, there's power and vulnerability. I mean, sometimes, social, even as much as I think everyone can try and be authentic, there's still this like subconscious like filtering what I'm about to post, right? Sure. No matter how committed I might be to like trying to show the whole truth, I'm gonna be thinking about how others will perceive this. Sure. So it's not easy, but like when we can be vulnerable, it does create more relatability, which creates more trust, which creates relationships and outcomes we're trying to make happen.
Yeah, we don't want to be Will Smith. We think he's like this perfect guy, and you're like, wow, this guy got all kinds of problems,
exactly.
Right? You'd rather just have the problems out right away, like, all right, you got some challenges, and everyone likes that comeback story, right?
Exactly.
Like, you fell down, but you got back up. Yeah. People respect that more.
Yeah, yeah.
So getting back to you and your business, so if somebody wanted to work with you, how would that look?
I mean, they can just hit me up on any of the different socials. There's a few different ways that I work with people, but it's mostly just helping them get on video. So I've got videographers, we got editors and strategy and script and everything. But I'm almost even way more, especially being on, you know, your show or your platform. I don't even want to be focused about me and my biz, like as much as hopefully someone listening right now feels energized to just even grab their own, you know, damn phone, start recording.
Right.
Because I think, you know, it's such a long journey. I talked about like that commitment, that cadence. That's the hardest part, just getting into that rhythm. But whether you find a Conor or someone else that can kind of help you fast forward to the next levels, like I think it's just getting started. But people that work with me, like again, we're helping actually do two main things. And this is, I'm gonna try and frame this in a way that people who want to get started with video can again do without Conor. So one idea is this vodcast model where you could just start a show. You actually don't even have to have an official show or an official branded like podcast or anything. Like for the longest time, I used to just record conversations with people and then not even post it somewhere,
really?
which is, you know, I'm leaving a lot on the table. That's a mistake, but I was just trying to get used to it. I was just trying to get comfortable being in that situation. I was just trying to, you know, get clips made from those conversations. So that's one model, is just maybe start recording conversations, the vodcast model, and start making clips from that. Another one though is just looking at the camera, you know, pre-writing a script, keeping it really, really tight and short, and then just looking at the camera and, you know, spitting your fire. So I hope people just, you know, one of those two directions and you really start getting a lot of momentum.
Yeah, man, give us something esoteric, man. When's the best time to post?
Yeah.
You know, Tuesday morning, Sunday evening?
Yeah, that's one of the favorite questions. I swear now, especially with the way these algorithms work, it almost just does not matter.
Sure.
But like, I think from what I've heard, when I've seen the data, it's like when most people are awake, you know, so if you're talking like 6 a.m. to like 9 or 10 p.m., like you're probably going to get about the same results. If I had to get really, really picky, I'd say pick maybe 6 a.m. or, you know, like 6 p.m. because people at jobs are busy during the day. So a little more consumption when someone comes home and kicks their feet up on the couch.
So right when you wake up or right when you leave into the office, you post.
Yeah. Also, another favorite one, because we were just talking about this right before the show, like, and I feel like you got a lot of opportunity because you're doing a lot of the hard work with, you know, you're doing the episode, you're creating the reel, you've got the short form cut. You can now just multiply the amount of views you're getting. You can squeeze, you know, that video is an asset, and you can get more from that asset if you get more views or more exposure to it. And so if you just share that asset in all the channels, then you'll just quite literally multiply the value you're getting from it. So posting that thing on LinkedIn, on YouTube Shorts, on TikTok, on Facebook, like it could be a little annoying to do all that, copy and paste every day.
But you gotta do it.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work.
But I mean, the thing to me is you did 88% of the work.
Sure.
And now with 12% more, you could get multiple times the value. So it's never ending. But that's another tip I'm big on, is like people creating videos, I think don't often enough share them across, you know, all the different platforms.
How often should you post a day? And what about recycling content?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
I think if it's quality, then I think you almost can't post too much, like every single day, like you could probably do. If it's not great quality, you're starting to annoy people, like then you have a negative effect there.
Just stop that.
Yeah. But I do think recycling, just straight reposting something you did from months ago, I think the platforms are catching on to that and they're kind of killing the reach on it now. But if you just do a small tweak, like change the intro and then play that same video, or you know, do a similar version but just re-record it looking at the camera. Like you might take one of the reels that performed the best for you and then now just like look at the camera and just like give your interpretation of that message or that takeaway. So there's ways to kind of like repurpose without just straight, you know, recycling.
So the recap, because we're almost done with the episode. Obviously, you got to be intentional. So set an actual scheduled date to start to post, even if it's just once a week.
Yeah, commit. First, a very clear commitment.
Okay, got my commitment. Next, write down, get tight of what I want to say, and figure out like what I want to talk about.
Almost thinking about like who you even want to talk to.
Who my target audience would be. What was the third?
Your pillar.
Okay.
So what can you do over and over and over and over and come back to every single day?
Okay, so like your foundation, your pillar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then that's 4, right?
Then I mean, yeah, that's the main. But like, if I had to add another one, then it's cut those short clips, cut those those shorter form videos, and spread them in as many places as you can, from
platforms as you
LinkedIn
can
to YouTube, Reels, and all that.
I think this is amazing.
Yeah, it's. I mean, one of the final things I'll say on this, like, it is tough. There's, a lot of people get excited. They feel like they can see the long-term benefits, but you go through that no man's land curve of, these videos aren't working. I don't know if anyone's seeing it. It's taking me a lot of time and energy and resources to get, almost no ROI. But you go X amount of months or however long it is, and you get that first person that reaches out to you in a real meaningful way, whether it's for your business or some other personal relationship, and you just, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so the value's there for video from then on after.
Yeah, one of the funniest things, one of my friends was like, man, I didn't know you were such an intellectual. And I know this guy for like 20 years. And I'm like, he's like, I don't know. I was looking at your podcast. I'm like, who is this guy? Like, that's not the guy. So I feel like when you do share that information with people, they see a different light or a different side of you that they may never see or never have heard you speak that way or haven't even got a chance to, like, it's kind of like my daughter, she didn't know what I did for work. She didn't care. I'm just dad.
Yeah.
And kind of with your circle of friends, that's kind of how they look at you. You could have a really important job. Unless you're like a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever, they don't think that that's the same level of a job. But then you start talking, you start dropping knowledge, you start telling them what you know. And they're like, man, this dude's serious. Like, okay. And they look at you differently. So I think that social proof is powerful.
Yeah. I just want to say, to wrap here, I think what you guys are doing is super cool. Like, just sharing these conversations and just this theme of, turning knowledge and info into real currency and results like that. And that's what it's about. So
I appreciate you coming on the show. And that was what's inspired me about the show, is because some people have a gift that they think is garbage and it's actually gold. And now that information is the new gold. And at this point in time, there's so much information out there that if you want to learn something, just freaking pick up your phone, go on YouTube, go on Google and learn about it. And it's never been like that. So it's a wonderful time to be alive, in my opinion.
Yes, sir. Totally agree.
That's right. And I'll just say it like this, you got 3 sources of communication. You got the intimate, that may be with you and your maker. That's you in the shower, you by yourself, you and your higher power. Then you got personal. That's what you and your family. You might, your friends, your loved ones. Then you got social. And here in the 21st century, social media is to make money, knowledge is currency. So I like to always just take that into a level of understanding, because we move at the speed of our understanding. Let's use this social media time to make our money, knowledge is currency. I want to thank you for joining us.
That's so cool. Literally said that.
If you got any parting words, we'd like to hear them, but if nothing else.
Nah, man, I just want to say thank you to you guys again. Like, this kind of thing, it's also meta. Like, just the way we got to this point was just through, meeting through that social, category that you just described. And that obviously then leads to more personal relationships, which then shapes my own, my own thoughts and things like that. So I just appreciate you guys having me.
Well, looking forward to see your growth and see what's next for you. And thanks so much for being on the show. And it's a wrap.
We got it. It's a plan.
Thank you.
Perfect.